is Sharee Fox, and I want to talk to you about something that is happening all around us. It's been happening for a long time, and it eventually happened to me. I want to talk to you about domestic abuse and the effects, statistics, let you know, a little bit of something about it. The reason why I decided to talk about this is because it happened to me. And I believe that everyone goes through things for someone else. So I feel like maybe this could save at least one person from at least say one person, so they won't have to go through what I went through. They usually say, the statistics usually say that most women who go through that come from broken households, wanting attention because they didn't have a father in the home, or their mothers went through abuse by their fathers or boyfriends or so forth. Well, I'm here to tell you that this can happen to anyone. I came from a two-parent household, from a strong mother who wouldn't take anything from anyone. Like my mother, I grew up watching my mother fight. Like, she wouldn't allow anyone to disrespect her. She wouldn't allow no one to put their hands on her. So my mother wouldn't take that type of abuse. And my father, loving, kind, worked hard for his family. Never seen him put his hands on my mother or any woman at all. He wouldn't even put his hands on me, discipline me really. He would do a lot of talking. And to come from that background and to get in a situation like I did, it boggles me. So when I tell you this can happen to anyone, it can happen to anyone. I was a victim of it for several years. And I'm going to tell you a few incidences. There's so many incidences to choose from. So, I remember fighting when I was pregnant with child. It happened in front of people. It didn't matter. I was in an abusive relationship for 6-7 years. Roughly about 6.5, 7 years. And I decided to get out of it in 2010. It stopped me from achieving a lot of things. I also blame myself for stopping a lot of things that could have been for myself, because I guess I missed the signs and symptoms of it because I wasn't used to it. It started off first verbal. The talking, the threats, name calling, put me down. I didn't take heed. And then it went to physical, which was one of the worst. But I think the most severe part of it is the verbal, because you never forget what people say to you, and especially when they say it repeatedly, The very first time it happened to me, because so many incidences, but the very first time that I knew that, okay, this is going to get worse. I remember he was driving, we was going towards our apartment, and at that moment I was like, you know what, I'm leaving. I had enough. I was going to leave. And he didn't too much like that, because in the back of the apartments there is a grassy area and there's a covered patio. And I remember being beaten at that moment. He grabbed me, pulled me by my hair. I remember being repeatedly, my head being banged against the dashboard. Him choking me, I couldn't breathe. Being dragged out my car by my hair into the house, where I was repeatedly beaten for over an hour at least. That was the first time that it was like there was no denying it. in my mind what was happening to me or what was going on. And that event followed many events similar or worse to that. I guess you asked, so how can you allow this to happen to you? Why did you walk away? Why stay? Well, for me, I think I was trying to keep my family together. And I grew up from mother and father. My mother and father grew up with mother and father. No one really in my family was, everybody was married. And I felt like I failed. I didn't want my lions or my sons to be without a father. So I figured, this is love. This is what people go through. So make it work, And I guess I thought it was okay because I would fight back. But regardless, a woman, 9 times out of 10 is not stronger than a man physically. So a lot of times the man can get the better of the female. So I guess I thought, well, I'm fighting back, so it's not exactly domestic abuse. But it was. I remember fighting when I was pregnant. Oh my gosh. I would fight so many times when I was pregnant. You would think that since I'm carrying his child that he would kind of pause or kind of chill with it, but it got worse when I was pregnant. And statistics say that a lot of pregnant women die from domestic abuse while they're pregnant. They're more defenseless, and I remember at that particular period of my life I fought even harder, because not only was I protecting myself, I was protecting my unborn child. So I remember being drugged when I was pregnant, being slapped when I was pregnant. Let me just break it down to you. He did everything he could possibly do to me except kill me and rape me. And the reason why I left is because I knew that if I didn't get out of it, that was going to be the way I was going to die. I remember my aunt telling me many times, you need to make a will, because he's getting more aggressive. You're not going anywhere. You're not leaving, and it got to the point where he was trying to have my children disrespect me the way he disrespect me. I guess the last straw for me was when he tried to turn my children into the monster that he was. And I remember them trying to fight my battle for me. It kills you to see your little 3 and 4-year-old trying to fight off daddy because he's putting his hands on mommy. And I didn't want them to think that that's a normal family. And I didn't want them to do that to another woman. Or I just didn't want to mess their lives up more than what I was doing when I stayed with them. I stayed talking to God for so long. Like, I had to pray my way through it, because when I was in this situation, I lost friends. I lost family. I still don't talk to a side of my family because of this situation. I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of property. A lot of property was damaged. I lost a sense of myself, my self-worth. I lost so much. And all I had was God and a handful of people who didn't give up on me, who prayed for me. And that's it. I lost everything. I remember me and my children trying to get away from the situation, went from this house to this house to this house. We slept in my van many nights. We were broke. We didn't have no money. Being talked about at work. Being talked about, period. It was awful. feel like you have no one. And all I had was God. You know, it took me a long time to get where I am now. And I was lost for so long. I didn't care about how I looked, because every time I would try to fix myself up, my hair was being pulled out. I was being punched. I was being scratched. I always had my hair wrapped up because, I mean, I didn't want to lose not another lock, not another anything. You don't feel safe. Waking up in the morning, you know you're going to fight. You know something's going to pop off, and not knowing what it's going to be. Okay, what's going to start them off the day? What's going to happen today? Hiding weapons strategically around the house. Not able to really sleep. Not at peace. Never wanted to be off, not one day at work, because you know, the day off, it's fighting day, you know. But after a while, you get tired. And hopefully you get tired before you are killed, or you're serving time for killing. Because many women don't walk away from this experience, or many men. And I was blessed to walk away and still have my life and my children, and have people who love me and support me where I had lost a lot. If I could say something to whoever's going through it, please lean on God, and please strategically plan a way out of it, because I tell you, it gets worse. There's only a few instances where the person changes and he realizes or she realizes what they're doing is wrong, and do something about it. But in a lot of cases, which is really sad, that don't happen. Somebody dies or gets hurt. And I've seen plenty of women in the hospital, witnessed many women killed. And I know many women who have been in a situation, and I know some who are still in a situation. And it affects everyone. Not just the person it's done to, but everyone around them. Everyone. And my goal, or my purpose for this documentary, is to save the children who's seeing this and dealing with this, because sometimes not only do they hurt the woman or the man, they hurt the children. It could go from the person, the adult, to their children. And something you don't want, you know. I would never wish this on my worst enemy, because it hurts. And it's so hard to get in. Well, it's so hard to get out of. And it takes a toll on you. You know, you're going to get out of it a few ways. You're either going to just have enough courage and support where you leave it, or you die, or you go to prison for killing your abuser, or you take yourself out. Don't seem like great options, huh? Only one great option. You need to learn the signs and symptoms. You need to get you a good support group. And I'm praying that this will reach many, and we implement it in churches, implement it in many programs, and stop the violence, because it affects too many people. Because some abusers are abusers because they were abused. So all I can say is I'm praying for you, and I hope this documentary, the statistics, us sharing our stories with you, our experiences with you, will help you to understand that it needs to stop, and it needs to stop sooner than you think. Now we're going to continue on through the rest of the documentary. Thank you for your attention.